Okay, welcome to lesson 2.4b. In this lesson, we're going to solve quadratics using the quadratic formula. Now, the quadratic formula needs to be memorized. There are lots of different memory tricks out there that you can use. You can Google or YouTube them. There's songs that can help you memorize it. Whatever you want to do, but this quadratic formula needs to be memorized. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's the quadratic formula. Now let's look at this first problem and talk about applying it. Now, a is always going to be your leading coefficient. So quick reminder of vocabulary, leading coefficient is the number in front of the letter with the biggest exponent. That's my a. B is always your middle coefficient. So in this case, it would be positive 3. And notice that I carried the sign with it. And then finally, C is your constant, which, reminder, is a number without a letter. And notice once again, I carried the sign with it. Now I can apply my quadratic formula. So I have x equals negative, and basically what I'm going to do is anytime I have a letter in my quadratic formula, I'm going to put parentheses and replace it with the number for that problem. So negative b parentheses, and for this one it's going to be a positive 3 square root of b squared, so there's another b, so I'm going to have parentheses, and I'm going to put my b in there. Now I put a positive in front of it here, but I didn't here. With positives, you're okay to leave positive signs off. If it's a negative sign, never leave it off. Make sure you carry it with it. And then I have minus 4a. I have another letter, so I'm going to do parentheses and do my a. And then C, I have another letter, so parentheses, and then my C, all over 2, and then parentheses for my A. Now, the trickiest part of this probably comes when I'm simplifying this. That's where I see the most mistakes happen. So this is how I would suggest you simplify it every time. And if you follow these steps, you'll avoid a lot of common mistakes. It's kind of like if you've ever heard the phrase, if you're going to eat an elephant, you eat it one bite at a time. This is a really big problem. You've got to simplify it one piece at a time or you're going to make mistakes. So I would recommend simplifying this part first. So we have x equals a negative positive 3 is a negative 3 plus or minus square root. Next, I would simplify this part. 3 squared. That's going to be 9. Then I have, next I would simplify this part. So negative 4 times 2 times negative 5 should give you a positive 40. All over, then simplify the bottom. 2 times 2 is 4. Next, I would just simplify the numbers inside my root. So negative 3 plus or minus square root 9 plus 40 is 49 all over 4. Now the reason I stop right here is to look at the number inside the root, because sometimes that number is negative, which means you have an imaginary answer. For now, that's still positive, so we're good. At this point, you need to separate the problem because this is a plus or minus. So your first answer is going to be negative 3 plus square root of 49 over 4. And your second answer is negative 3 minus square root of 49 all over 4. And at this point, now it's simple enough. You can just plug that into your calculator. So if you plug that into your calculator, for this first one you should get negative 3 plus square root of 49, which is 7 over 4, you should get 1 when you plug that in. And for the second one, you should get negative 3 minus 7 over 4, negative 2.5 for your final answer. And that's how we use the quadratic formula. In the next video, I'll do the last two examples so you can see how those ones work.